Bakugou and Kaminari had been dating for a year now. Sure, Bakugou wasn't exactly the most showy of boyfriends. He didn't make grand gestures to show how he felt, and the closest thing to PDA he has ever done is carry Kaminari back to the dorms on days where they did a lot of running. Still, to Kaminari, he is the most romantic person he has ever dated. Bakugou's love language is silent. You'd think that someone who almost always is yelling, they would be more aggressive with their love. You'd know for sure they liked you before they even confessed. That's not how it was, though, and that's still not how it is. Bakugou shows his love more through actions than anything. Kaminari sees it in how Bakugou remembers what foods he dislikes. He sees it in how he will always carry around fidget toys for him when they are going somewhere boring. He sees it in how Bakugou makes sure to keep his favorite soda in the dorms even though he hates sodas. But most of all, the thing that only solidified his love was Strawberry Mentos. Kaminari's favorite candy was Strawberry Mentos. He has never mentioned this, so he knew Bakugou must have noticed him eating them and just locked that information in. The candy came into play on their 3-month anniversary. Kaminari had made a big plan for them. He planned to take Bakugou to his favorite restaurant for dinner and then go walk in a nearby park while they watched the sunset. It was simple to the outside eye, but he knew Bakugou would love it. The date went smoothly, which is rare for anything Kaminari planned. He was so excited when they got to the park in time to watch the sunset. Not to mention, he was actually keeping a pretty good conversation with Bakugou going. Everything was perfect. They made it to the little bridge in the park. It crossed over a koi pond. This was where Kaminari planned to end the night. Watching the orange and yellow hues against the water in the pond sounded perfect. And apparently it was perfect for what Bakugou had planned too. The conversations naturally grew more quiet as the night was ending. The air got more chilly and Kaminari moved closer to Bakugou for warmth since he had forgotten his jacket. For once, Bakugou actually opened his arm to hold Kaminari even though they were in a public place. Sure, nobody was around, but the fact he did it was surprising. When Kaminari looked over to thank him, their faces were mere inches apart. Bakugou hadn't been focused on the sunset at all. Bakugou waited for a couple seconds, giving Kaminari the chance to move away or pull back. A couple seconds that felt like forever to him. When he noticed that Kaminari wasn't pulling away, that's when the gap closed. Their first kiss. Kaminari knew immediately he would always remember it, because that's when he knew for sure that he had loved Bakugou. It wasn't that cliche there were sparks flying type of thing, though there was definitely a spark or two. Both of them had gotten a little too excited, and their quirks sort of forced that kiss to end quickly. The reason he knew he loved Bakugou with that kiss was because he tasted Strawberry Mentos that he loved so much. Bakugou doesn't really care much for sweets. If he had to choose, he would go for bitter or sour first, so he wouldn't have the taste of Strawberry Mentos on his lips unless he had made the conscious decision to eat them. He planned this kiss. There was no other way. Ever since that day, Kaminari has noticed Strawberry Mentos around Bakugou. Every time they kissed on a date, the taste was there, and each time Kaminari can feel himself falling more in love with him. Now it's their 1-year anniversary. Kaminari has once again made a plan. He was going to recreate the date that made him fall hopelessly in love with Bakugou. The park? Isn't this what we did for 3 months? Bakugou asks as Kaminari leads him down the same trail they followed last time. They already had been to the restaurant Bakugou loved. So you do remember, Kaminari says with a big smile on his face. It wasn't that surprising that he remembered. Bakugou had remembered everything else so far. Of course I do. Why wouldn't I? I had to explain to Recovery Girl why I had electric burns on my face, Bakugou says, laughing at the memory. That was definitely funny. I didn't know kissing would be so dangerous. At least we got to her before any of our classmates could see. You know Mina would not let you live that down. That would have been horrible, Bakugou says. The bridge comes into view, and Bakugou smiles. Even though that date wasn't exactly that long ago, Looking back on it feels nostalgic. He hadn't expected Kaminari to take this approach for their anniversary. Maybe, like it was for him, this was Kaminari's favorite memory of the past year. They get on the bridge and Bakugou chooses to sit down this time. He slips his legs through the gaps in the railing and leans against the wood. I can't believe it's been a year since you asked me out, Kaminari says, sitting beside him. He looks down at the koi fish below them. It has definitely gone by quick, and by this time next year we'll be out of school. We most likely won't have time to do stuff like this since we'll be trying to establish ourselves as heroes, Bakugou says as he actually watches the sunset this time. Kaminari sees that Bakugou is focused on the sunset and takes something out of his pocket. A small black rope of licorice, one of his least favorite candies ever. He starts eating it, listening to Bakugou talk about how he hopes he can find some time when they graduate to occasionally do stuff like this. However, Bakugou happens to look over as Kaminari has shoved half the rope into his mouth. "What are you doing?" Bakugou asked. "Nothing," Kaminari says around the candy. Of course, Bakugou catches him. "Really? It looks like you're trying to deep-throat black licorice, which is weird even for you." Kaminari pulls the disgusting candy out of his mouth and groans in humiliation. Why did Bakugou have to look at him at that embarrassing moment? There is nothing he can say to play that off cool. "So why were you giving this licorice the time of its life? I thought you hated this stuff," Bakugou says. "I do, but you don't," Kaminari says. He shoves the candy back into the baggie that he had in his pocket and begins to explain. "I just wanted you to be as happy kissing me as I am kissing you. I always taste my favorite candy when we share a kiss, so I was trying to eat your favorite candy. I wanted to taste like black licorice just like how you taste like Strawberry Mentos." "You idiot," Bakugou laughs. "You don't need to force yourself to eat licorice for me to enjoy kissing you. The way you're constantly buzzing during every kiss, letting me know you like it, is enough for me." He pulls Kaminari in, and for the second time, they share a kiss on that bridge under the setting sun. Bakugou tasting like Strawberry Mentos, and this time, Kaminari having a very faint licorice taste. Both enjoyed that kiss more than the first one.